Hello everyone and welcome back to the 12 Days of Film. I'm reviewing a different movie from the year 2023 each day, and today I'm talking about Haunted Mansion, not The Haunted Mansion. We just cut that "the" out. We got a completely different film. I don't know if you guys noticed yet, I'm trying to do something different with the color, or make little visual changes each review, and I didn't know which one else to do black and white for, so hey. So my wife and I actually rewatched the original Haunted Mansion, prepping for this movie. Imagine prepping for Haunted Mansion, but that's exactly what I did because I hadn't seen the original movie in a while. I had since gone to the Disney park ride. I very much enjoyed the Disney park ride. I had small little child neuron memories of the original movie, but when I went back to rewatch it, as much as I love Eddie Murphy, as much as there was like a little childhood spark in that film, I just thought it was alright. If I have any nostalgia for this property, it's because of the ride. That being said, I do know people love or hate that original Eddie Murphy movie, but I don't have like a strong opinion either way. That being said, I think I like this one more. But let me break it down. Let me paint the picture here. So Disney, they will turn every rock if it means there's potentially a penny underneath it. And thus, they are going to break out the old Haunted Mansion franchise. They've had success with Pirates of the Caribbean and turning their rides into movies in the past. That being said, this is never going to touch Pirates of the Caribbean. That is a once in a lifetime. I love Pirates of the Caribbean. But I think just by being a good movie, this already exceeds my expectations. And this film really exists also just to bloat up Disney Plus. It's just more content on the assembly line for Disney. That being said, they've made plenty of films like that in the past that I've ended up really liking. And the best way to get off of that line is to distinct yourself. For instance, this film is PG-13, which it did not need to be, but I'm happy it did, and it addresses some darker themes. The main guy from this film is Darius from Atlanta. I love that dude. He is going through a lot of trauma. He has like terrible social anxiety. It actually talks about like actual mature themes in this movie. It doesn't go deep into it. I don't expect it to, but it feels much more like it's in the real world than the last movie, which was much more campy. I'm not saying this movie isn't campy because the cast they got here do a great job of doing the balance of the little bit of horror, mostly a comedy, taking itself seriously from time to time. You got Rosario Dawson, great job. Danny DeVito, you gotta love Danny DeVito. Owen Wilson. I didn't even know Jared Leto was in this film. Yeah, great cast. I think that's going to be the main compliment for anybody coming out of this film. There are spots in this film that aren't really that funny, but because the cast is so good, it makes you smile anyway. The mansion this time around definitely feels like creepier. It definitely feels like a lot more dangerous just to walk around and do stuff, and then it haunts them as they leave, so you can't just use the trope of, oh, just leave. Like, they cannot. They are cursed. I like when stories add little things like that. They know what the person is thinking in the back of their head, and they add little asterisks to the plot to make sure, no, they can't. So it does feel like they're taking this film more serious than the last one. The last one definitely feels like a different movie. It's campier, goofier, and has more practical effects. But this one, it's more of a CGI mess. That's not to say the CGI is bad, especially like in the finale. Like, they get a really big ending out of this, like a big grand finale, which I was not expecting. But it does become a CGI fest, and I kind of miss the practical stuff. You have a more real campy movie versus a serious conveyor belt CGI movie, which are pros and cons to each. So I did like this movie. I don't think it's like a miraculous feat that they were able to accomplish it. It's never going to be like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's, again, just another movie that exists for the sake of it. But I will say they did better than I thought they would. And like I said, the cast is the only reason you would watch this movie. I will say, since having a kid, I'm watching more movies through this like filter of, oh, this would be more fun for kids or not. And I think Chris Stuckman said this too. Like, if this was like one of your first spooky movies, like this would be a really good first spooky movie you show to somebody. That being said, I'm going to give Haunted I almost said The Haunted Mansion. It's just Haunted Mansion, guys, okay? It's a different movie. I'm going to give Haunted Mansion a 7 out of 10. So, not quite as good as the park ride. Anyway, thank you for watching, and until next time with that, I leave you.